Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 28th of October. All right, now as we start the trade week, just having a quick look at the news to see if there's any sort of major events out which would cause us issues with regards gapping, etc. And there doesn't appear to be any. Okay, now they're just attributing the dollar rise to the potential US-China trade pact. I don't know about that, but that's generally what they're throwing around. Dollar CAD, okay, this is going to be in the news this week. We've got the Bank of Canada and the Fed meeting this week, as well as non-farm payrolls. It's a massive week. And yet this is where they're going to be talking around dollar CAD, what's been happening, etc. But the big news, obviously, or still the ongoing news, is the EU is very close to granting the UK an extension on their Brexit deadline. And UK PM Johnson is looking to get this election on the way. All right, so that's going to be the main sort of a lot of news this week, obviously, and that's kept the currencies in a little bit of a holding pattern. The Donald's impeachment proceedings, well, they're still sort of getting witnesses and still building up a case for his impeachment, but we have to wait and see how that really plays out. So that's pretty much where we are. Obviously, the US government debt, I mean, this is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until someone pays it back, which is never going to happen. So anyway, well, I don't know if that's news or not, but it's been sitting there forever. So who knows how to sort of interpret that. So that's where we are as far as the news. It's not too bad because when you come back to the charts, you sort of piece together what's going on. Okay, as I was saying last week or the end of last week, the euro looks to me like the one to be sort of really focusing on. And now it's just sitting here on support around 110.80. We're waiting for that knockout blow or data that gives us the traders, everywhere, the confidence to get short euro. At this stage, that hasn't really come through yet because we're waiting for the EU-UK deal on Brexit or extensions and these sorts of things. And that's really keeping even sterling. I'm surprised sterling hasn't sort of dropped to 125 yet. But I guess as long as there's a potential for a rollback in the deadline, a potential UK vote, that could sort of clear things up. And I guess that's a bit of a positive. Now, the Aussie and Kiwi pretty much sort of just drifting with that sort of little bit of positive dollar strength, US dollar strength. So they're just on their heels a little bit, but no clear sign of momentum. They do look a little bit fatigued up at these levels, but you know what? It's pretty hard to say either way if they're going up or down. Dollar yen really sort of tracking sideways at this point with no clear direction. And dollar CAD still, short-term wise, it's still the best performing trend, short-term trend at this point. But it's look at the price action down here. It's really stalling over the last sort of, last couple of days of last week. It's still just hanging in there below that trend line, but we do need that bit of data to really tell us, whether you should be getting short or looking for a break back to the top side. Just coming back to the MyFX Trading Hub, we've got normal Monday liquidity. It is a New Zealand holiday, so if you do feel like throwing the Kiwi around for whatever reason, I'd think twice about it. It's going to be pretty thin, right? So you got the Kiwi holiday, core market drivers, the same old culprits, which aren't doing as many favors. You come back to the overall analysis, and it's pretty much where we were last Friday. Okay, there's no major change. So I'm not like getting overexcited at this point. What I'm trying to do on Mondays is actually really plan the week ahead. And this is where you can come down and see where the potential momentum may come from. And that's how you sort of piece together the week. Now, Kiwi holiday Monday, there's not a hell of a lot else coming out. And then you can sort of start to go through and cherry pick a few things. I've got Aussie CPI coming on Wednesday. That's a big release for the Aussie dollar. German employment change, always worth keeping an eye on. The ADP non-farm numbers. Now, this isn't like the non-farm payrolls number itself. It's a different stat, but many traders believe it's a good lead into Friday's numbers. You got the advanced GDP, but really you'll see on all the news services, they're going to be focusing in on these two events, the Bank of Canada interest rate decision and the statement press conference, and same for the Fed, right? Obviously, the Fed's the main event because it impacts all the major currency pairs. And that's where you've got to be sort of thinking, well, you know what, Wednesday, okay, if I can add some cash to my account before Wednesday, that's good because it can give you something to work with. But you don't want to go into the FOMC or these big announcements down cash. So just make sure when you are looking to place trades that you're in pairs that does make sense. And to me, technically at the moment, they don't. But following the Fed, right, this is where the good part of understanding how the market works. If you come in and you look at the Fed as being the key event for all global markets, right, so financial markets, then you see what comes out after this. This is where the real good trades can sort of sit, okay? Not just at the Fed announcement itself. We may get clear direction on the US dollar there, and this is where we can build in or potential. We know which side to hit. So when we get these other data releases coming out, say Thursday/Friday, we can get clearer direction and an easier trade on these events. Now, when you're looking for the big head kicker, it's down here, the non-farm payrolls, Friday. Now, that's going to be huge, especially straight after the Fed as well. We've got loads of data coming out all over the place. So it's a really good week to plan your opportunities. At the moment, Monday, there's not a hell of a lot going on. There's no major gapping, but there's no real momentum in the market as well. All right, guys, have a good trade week. I'll keep you informed as we go through the week. Cheerio.